It's the Eagle Community Television Forum with your host, Gary Shorman.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Forum on Eagle Television. I'm Gary Shorman. The Forum's brought to you by Hayes Med. Our guest, Scott Cason, and Scott is the new Chief Communication Officer at Fort Hays State University. Welcome.
Thank you.
What does that title mean?
That means I'm sort of the chief storyteller of the university. And so organizing all the storytelling we do that really advances the reputation of the university, recruits students to the university, and hopefully generates more revenue for the university.
You know, one of the things you have to say that people watching out here can tell you there's some great stories that have come out of Fort Hays State University.
Absolutely.
And the growth. You drive around campus, you see some of those. But let's wind it back a little bit. How'd you get started in this business?
Well, I grew up one of those kids who got the Sears catalog at Christmas time, and I would always flip to the back where they had all the NFL stuff. And I've always been fascinated with logos and design and things like that. But I also grew up wanting to be a pilot. So those two things, that sort of the design, that creative side of me with this desire to be a pilot sort of competed a little bit, but by and large it was the desire to be a naval aviator that drove what I wanted to do. So I did that. I flew helicopters in the Navy for about 9 years. Worked as a teacher for a while, thinking I was going to go back and get a degree in design, but I decided to pursue a career in higher education marketing, and some of it came from my father, who's was in sales, and that seemed attractive to me. And my job allows me to be creative. It's part of the way I'm wired that I think really makes this the most satisfying job I've ever had.
Well, I was reading your resume and you talk about flying helicopters. I'm a pilot. And so anybody that flies something like a helicopter where you have to go up, down, left, right, and in between is pretty amazing. What was that like being in the military, flying a helicopter?
It was fantastic. Early in my training, we did a lot of aerobatic things in a regular fixed-wing aircraft. And I got easily disoriented being upside down.
I try not to do that in mine.
Well, yeah. They're thinking you're going to be a jet pilot when you go into flight training. And I started thinking after a couple of flights, and these aerobatic flights and these night flights, instrument flights, I kind of like the idea of a helicopter, because if you're upside down, you don't have to worry about it for too long, but you don't do that. Plus you get to fly low over top of trees and the water and things like that. That was really exhilarating to fly a helicopter.
And from there, you ended up back in education. That had to be an interesting switch, going from flying above trees, fast helicopter, to now getting back into the education field.
It was. I had an undergraduate degree in marketing. I got a graduate degree in teaching. So my first job in higher education was with a university, an online university, that developed professional development programs for military people. So that was my first foray into marketing. But in that job, I got to do everything. I got to design ads, write speeches, radio copy, press releases, web design. I did it all because we were a two-person shop for the whole university. But that's when I really figured out, after my third career, this is the one I thought I was going to get the most enjoyment out of.
Well, Scott, tell us how you came about the Fort Hays State job, because many people get here from different places and end up saying, hey, this is really cool being here. What brought you to Fort Hays State?
Oh, President Mason, for one thing. Everything I'd read about her, I really thought that would be a great fit for me, is working with President Mason in that regard. She's very thoughtful, she's very intelligent, very strategic thinking. I was attracted to that. I also was looking for a job where I was a direct report to the president, and that's one of the things that this job offered. So I get to see and work with the senior leadership on big decisions a lot, and I enjoy that quite a bit. I looked at the map, to be honest with you, and saw where Hays, Kansas was, and took me a while to dig a little deeper to realize what a great town this is. And it's, my family and I just got back this morning from Kentucky, where our son was graduating college. And it's not a bad drive out to Hays, Kansas. It's a great place. So we really fell in love with this area as well.
Tell me about your first trip, though, back. You used to tell me about an interview. There's a little bit of winter weather involved with that.
It was last February. It was the dead of winter, and my wife and I came up for the interview, and I didn't even bring a coat because it was 70 degrees in East Texas. And it was 21 degrees the night of my interview. Got up the next morning, it was, I think, 18 degrees, and snow was falling, and I can't even remember what the wind chill was. It was terrible. And we left at about 8 in the morning and got to Texas that afternoon. It was 73 degrees.
Well, I can tell you what, President Mason is she's pretty good about selling the university, and
yes,
obviously You being here is a good part of that. What are the steps that you look for coming to a university? You've been in the job for not quite 8 months, close to that.
Yeah.
What do you look for?
We're in the business of transforming lives, and that's really what I keenly look at. And one of the things I like about a university like Fort Hays State University is it's a regional comprehensive public university. Our focus is on teaching. It's on transforming the lives of kids. We're a very affordable, high value institution. Students can come here, don't have to go deep into debt to finish with a very high quality degree and great career opportunities. So that really attracts me. My previous institution was also a regional comprehensive public university. I think the best work in higher education is done by regional comprehensive public universities.
What about the students that come here? How do you actually reach them today? Because that's another marketing challenge, different than maybe it used to be. How do you go about reaching them?
Well, they say in the marketing business, word of mouth is the most powerful form of marketing. So one of the things we do is we try to make sure our students and our families are happy with their experience here. And they become our #1 salespeople, I think. Other than that, we're evolving in our operations to be a lot more digital in how we reach. Understanding the sort of the media consumption behaviors of prospective students and communicating with them through that knowledge that we have of what type of social media they look at, where do they get their news information, things like that. And it's also important to try to get students and families to come to Hays and come to campus, because we really think if you see the campus, you experience the Fort Hays State University, you'll be sold.
One of the things I know, you look at a map, and you mentioned this with your drive out here, but you look at the map and it's another little town in Kansas along the interstate. Until you get here, until you drive through the campus and see some of the beautiful buildings, the architecture that's put in place, the stonework that has been done,
Yes.
you really don't capture the feel. It's hard to do on an ad, it's hard to do on some sort of digital, to actually paint that picture.
And I think our media too, as our office evolves, we're going to be a lot more invested in visual media, video, photography, things like that really tell the story through those images of the campus. We've got a gentleman who works with us as a consultant for enrollment, and he's told us before he's never been to a regional public comprehensive university that looked and felt like a small liberal arts college. That's high praise, I think. That's how our campus feels. It's very intimate, it's very well designed and laid out, and it's beautiful to walk through the quad among all the cottonwood trees. When the time is right, it's really a pretty place.
Scott, I want to take a break here. One of the things about Fort Hays State is that you deal with an international student population as well. I want to find out how you approach that. Scott Cason is our guest here. He's the Chief Communication Officer at Fort Hays State University. Back with more after this.
Be one of our weekly winners through football season with the Wolf Furniture Gallery's Gridiron Glory. Players go to HaysPost.com to pick weekly winners in the NFL. Prizes will vary. The best at season end will claim the grand prize, a complete living room set. Register at HaysPost.com in the contest section. Football season could pay off big with the Wolf Furniture Gallery's Gridiron Glory. Presented by Wolf Furniture Galleries, Eagle Marketing Solutions, HaysPost.com, and Eagle Radio.
Someone in here with us?
Ghost Hunters is back with a new team, better tech, and more answers.
This is my favorite part of the night.
We had to flee our home.
I've been doing this for 30 years. I chase the truth. Only with the truth can I truly help someone.
Whoa!
Ghost Hunters returns Wednesdays at 9 on A&E.
Have you considered the value that quality video content can bring to your business? Mid-America Productions can provide professional visual media to effectively engage your target audience. We're a full-service video production company serving Salina and surrounding regions for over 35 years. Whether you need videos for promotion, sales, training, fundraising, or other purposes, our experienced team can deliver for you. Find us online at mapvideo.net. That's mapvideo.net.
Welcome back. Second half of the forum. Scott Cason is our guest. He's a Chief Communication Officer, Fort Hays State University. If you have a thought or an idea for a future program here on the forum, be sure and let me know. You can find me at gary.shorman@eaglecom.net. You can also go online on Facebook under ECTV Forum. That's ECTV Forum. We'll look for you there. Our guest, Scott Cason. Scott is Chief Communication Officer. We talked about what that means. We talked about finding students, but what do you do in the international realm? Because there's a huge group, comparative-wise, with students from foreign countries, specifically China.
Absolutely. We've got close to 4,000 students in China taking Fort Hays State University courses, earning Fort Hays State University degrees in China. And we really value that partnership. But we're also looking to grow strategically with other online students from international destinations or locations. I think there's a huge opportunity for us as an institution with all we do well, which we do online education very well, very affordable, to expand our presence overseas in other markets as well.
You mentioned storytelling and talking about the university for what you're doing there. What are the main keys you find, not only Fort Hays State, so if you're out there marketing your business, whatever, here are the 4 keys or 5 keys, or maybe there's 100 keys. What do you look at the best things to do if you're trying to market something, specifically a university?
I think the biggest thing is to be true to your brand. And we have a really good understanding, I think, at Fort Hays State University of our brand. What are the elements of our personality as an institution? What makes us compelling and distinctive? And we really think it's innovation. We are a campus that has long been innovators, and going back to the early 1900s and how we delivered courses to teachers all over Western Kansas. But we also are always looking for other innovations in learning and teaching and learning. I think persistence is another aspect. Students who are persistent, who have to balance things in their lives, work commitments, family commitments, distance commitments. We're, I think, an ideal university for a learner, an adult learner that needs to balance those things. We understand it. We modify our programs to make it easier for students who have other commitments to get through their degree. And I think the last thing is that we're committed to service at Fort Hays State University. We really do care about our students. We invest in our students from day one, and our students invest in each other. It's just a great community. We're out here in Western Kansas, and we have each other, and we take care of each other. And that's another thing we're very proud of. So I think the key is to be true to your brand and be true to your personality, because a college-bound student has a very difficult decision to make on picking that college. And they will see through the smoke and mirrors if you're trying to woo them with smoke and mirrors. You have to be true to your brand, and if you do that, you're making a good decision. If we as an institution stay true to our brand, then we're going to attract the right students who know that they fit.
You know, you mentioned early on kind of the different students that could come here and the cost to go to university. In the research that's been done, is there a prototype of the perfect Fort Hays State Tiger that's out there?
I think, again, it's someone who is persistent, who doesn't quit, can work through any obstacle, comes up with innovative ways to solve problems in the classroom and outside the classroom, but also someone who's committed to becoming a good citizen in their life after college and engaging in their community, making their communities better. You know, out here in Western Kansas, we have a great need for good people, and we're trying to supply really good people into the communities of Western Kansas that change their local communities for the better. And we're really proud of that heritage, but also how we continue in that role.
Let's talk about you and your family a little bit, because one of the things we do on this program, we kind of dive a little deeper into what not only brings people here and what they do, but kind of what they do for fun. Scott, what do you do for fun?
My wife and I largely follow our kids around still. We've got
like a lot of us here.
Yeah, that's. I've got 4 children. My oldest is a volleyball coach and graduate assistant at Northwest Missouri State University.
Yeah, we've heard about that school.
That's yes, and so she's in her first year there. On the other end of the line is my youngest daughter, who plays volleyball at a school in Ohio. And then I've got a son. We just got back today from Western Kentucky University, where my son graduated with his electrical engineering degree. He's looking for a job in engineering.
Yeah.
And then my oldest son, Andrew, he works political campaigns. He graduated a couple years from Texas A&M University Commerce, where I came from. And so he's been working a political campaign in Houston.
So if you're not chasing kids around, not watching volleyball, doing engineering in the backyard, and maybe running for political office at some point, do you just do something for fun?
Cook. I cook. I'm an artistic cook. Complicated recipes bore me, but if I think I can recreate it, I like the art side of it to recreate. So I like to say anything that's really bad for your heart, I'm really good at making.
Well, maybe we ought to have another show on that. Creative cooking with Scott.
Yeah,
We'll figure
I
out
love
how
it.
to do that.
I love it. Yeah,
that'll be fun. Thanks for being here. Thanks for
Thank
being
you.
on our program and helping our community and helping the university, because we'll look for some really great stories to come as you tell more about Fort Hays State and get more students here, and also talk to those who have graduated from the university and friends. So
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate the invite to come visit with you today.
Scott Cason has been our guest here on The Forum. The program is brought to you by Hayes Med and by Eagle Communications, our community connected.